إذاعة الجزائر الدولية للصوت والصورة عبر تقنية لايف ستريم على صفحات التواصل الاجتماعي فيسبوك، تويتر وقناة اليوتيوب لإذاعة الجزائر الدولية. لمزيد من الأخبار تابعوا radioalgerie.dz/Radio Algérie International.
With Radio Algeria International, you will not miss a single major political or economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received a delegation from the International Football Association Federation FIFA, led by former German international Jürgen Klinsmann, who brought the 2026 World Cup trophy, in which the national team will participate. Prime Minister Mr. Sefi Gharieb has presided over the official launch of the National Data Governance System here in Algiers, held under the slogan National Data Governance System, Sovereignty, Organization and Transparency. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry and several organizations have condemned the Israeli authorities' decision to extend their control over the West Bank and called the international community to act against what they called a de facto annexation of Palestinian lands. Hello and welcome to Radio Algeria International. I'm your host, Masoud Sharfi. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received a delegation from the International Football Association Federation, FIFA, led by former German international Jürgen Klinsmann, who brought the 2026 World Cup trophy, in which the national team will participate. During this meeting, the President unveiled the World Cup trophy, greeted the members of the delegation, took a commemorative photo with them, received a replica of the trophy presented by former German international Jürgen Klinsmann, and exchanged words with the delegation members, who expressed their delight at the meeting. Later on, the President of the Republic received the legends of Algerian football, including former internationals Rabah Majer, Lakhdar Bouloumi, Saleh Assad, Ali Ben Sheikh, FLN team players Mohamed Maouche, and members of the current national team with their coach Vladimir Pichvuki. Prime Minister Mr. Sefi Gharieb has presided over the official launch of the National Data Governance System here in Algiers, held under the slogan National Data Governance Systems, Sovereignty, Organization and Transparency. The official ceremony took place under the high patronage of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, in the presence of the Minister of Digital Transition, Ms. Maryam Ben Mouloud, and the President's advisor, Mr. Farid Yaisi, alongside several officials. The launch of the National Data Governance System comes in implementation of the state's strategic orientations aimed at strengthening digital sovereignty, consolidating the principles of transparency and proper data organization, ensuring the improvement of public policy effectiveness, supporting digital transformation, and enhancing the quality of services provided to citizens. Acting on behalf of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, Prime Minister Mr. Sefi Gharieb has carried out a visit to Souq Ahras province to monitor the progress of works on the project for duplication, realignment and modernization of the Eastern Mining Railway line, one of the strategic projects of the Eastern region. The Eastern Mining Line, stretching 422 kilometers, aims to develop railway infrastructure, increase load capacity and ensure safe, efficient transport for passengers and goods. During the visit, the Prime Minister was briefed on the progress of the works, stressing the need to ensure close monitoring, safety and quality, and affirming that the project is key driver of economic and social development in the Eastern region. He reaffirmed his commitment to carrying through the President's clear instructions to complete this strategic project before the end of the year as part of efforts to move away from oil rent. The projects are strategic. The Algerian state will truly allow us to move away from oil rent. After Gharaj Bilat, there is the Tbissa phosphate. To be clear, the President's instructions are clear. This project must be completed by the end of the year. Mr. Gharib stressed the importance of coordination among all stakeholders to ensure the project is completed on time and according to the highest standards of quality and efficiency. Prime Minister Sifi Gharib has stated that the events of Sayyid Sidi Youssef represent an important historical milestone, embodying unity, fraternity, and solidarity between the two brotherly peoples, Algerian and Tunisian. Co-chairing the 68th Sayyid Sidi Youssef anniversary with Ms. Zafri Zenzeri, Mr. Sifi Gharib called February 8, 1958, a historic turning point reflecting solidarity and Algerian-Tunisian fraternity despite the French colonizers' brutal raid. He noted that the martyrs' sacrifices inspire fraternity and motivate a strong Algeria-Tunisia cooperation, advancing the strategic partnership initiated by the Presidents Abdelmajid Tebboune and Qais Said.
Our presence here today to commemorate the 68th anniversary of the glorious events of Sayyid Sidi Youssef constitutes an important occasion to draw lessons and rally efforts in order to preserve the legacy of those who preceded us in jihad through action, by all means and methods, to strengthen the bilateral cooperation relations that bring together the two brotherly countries, to achieve the desired strategic integrative partnership in line with the aspirations of the leaders of the two brotherly countries, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, President of the Republic, and his brother, His Excellency Mr. Qais Said, President of Tunisia, and their keenness to consolidate the bonds of brotherhood and meet the aspirations of our two brotherly peoples to achieve greater unity, prosperity, and shared well-being.
He emphasized that the ongoing efforts to strengthen the Algerian-Tunisian relations after the holding of the 23rd High Joint Commission on December 12th, focusing on implementing its recommendations, ensuring successful bilateral meetings, and enhancing coordination across political, economic, cultural, and social fields. The Prime Minister said honoring the martyrs inspires border region youth and development, adding that it requires stronger links between youth institutions while praising the 5+5 Border Universities Forum of December 2025.
Our shared commitment to the duty of loyalty toward our righteous martyrs who fell during these events drives us to renew the pledge to continue moving forward toward opening new horizons for our youth from the border regions so as to meet their dreams and transform these shared borders into hubs of work, development, and well-being. Achieving this commitment requires intensifying efforts to strengthen the bridges of communication between the youth-related institutions of both sides.
For her part, Tunisia's Prime Minister, Ms. Zafrani, said that this commemoration is an occasion to recall a chapter in the shared history of the Tunisian-Algerian people's struggle. She emphasized that the commemoration honors the martyrs and reinforced the deep fraternal and strategic ties between Tunisia and Algeria under President Qais Said and Abdelmajid Tebboune.
The commemoration by Tunisia and Algeria of this great anniversary constitutes an opportunity to draw inspiration from the highest meanings of solidarity, mutual support, and sincere brotherhood, imbued with the pure blood of our righteous martyrs and born out of shared sacrifice. The commemoration of this immortal anniversary also embodies the depth of the fraternal historical ties between the two countries, deeply rooted in the collective memory of the two peoples, and stands as a gesture of loyalty to the sacrifices of martyrs who fell in defense of freedom, dignity, and independence. The firm and deep historical bonds between Tunisia and Algeria form a solid foundation for building strong fraternal relations and a strategic partnership aimed at exploring broader horizons for fruitful cooperation and strengthening an effective partnership across various fields, in fulfillment of the sincere political will of the leaders of the two countries, His Excellency President Qais Said and his brother, His Excellency President Abdelmajid Tebboune.
Ms. Zafrani Zenzeri highlighted the progress achieved in the Algerian-Tunisian cooperation in security, energy, trade, and border development, praising the holding of a high-level meeting and joint commissions, and noting that the 23rd session of the High Joint Commission in December 2025 had strengthened strategic bilateral cooperation with the conclusion of 25 agreements. The Minister of Energy, Renewable Energies, Murad Ajjal, has received here in Algiers a delegation from the International Finance Corporation, IFC, led by its Vice President for Africa, Ethiopis Tefara, with whom he discussed prospects for cooperation, partnership and investment in the energy sector. This meeting, attended by officials from both the ministry and the IFC, and within the framework of strengthening Algeria's international cooperation, allowed both parties to explore ways to consolidate bilateral partnerships nationally and internationally. In his opening speech, Mr. Ajjal highlighted the role of energy in economic and social development, Algeria's expertise across the energy value chain, and the national focus on renewable energy through the 15,000 megawatt project by 2035, noting that it strengthens Algeria's position as a reliable partner in supporting energy development at the international or at the continental level. For his part, Mr. Tefara expressed the company's interest in expanding cooperation with Algeria in energy and renewables, proposing a national wind power project and sharing Algerian expertise to support energy development and electrification in Africa. The minister reaffirmed Algeria's commitment to remain a strategic partner in African electrification, emphasizing on the ground implementation. The meeting concluded with the plans for technical sessions to build a solid partnership. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry and several organizations have condemned the Israeli authorities' decision to extend their control over the West Bank and called on the international community to act against what they called a de facto annexation of Palestinian lands. The ministry was quoted by the news agency WAFA as saying that the Israeli authorities, as an occupying power, has no sovereignty over city or territory of the State of Palestine and therefore lacks the right to amend or cancel laws. In this respect, it called on all states and institutions to reject and condemn such a decision and to put pressure on the Israeli authorities to force them to reconsider their plans that undermine the region's security, peace and stability. In this connection, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine stressed that the annexation plans constituted a radical change in the Israeli crimes and the most serious escalation since 1967. It rejected the Israeli decision as a tantamount to a de-escalation of war was designed to uproot the Palestinian people to decisively liquidate the Palestinian issue. In a similar move, the Palestinian National Initiative movement denounced the decisions adopted by the Israeli government as the most serious change in the settlement building in the occupied Palestinian territories since 1967. Meanwhile, the representative of the State of Palestine to the Arab League, Mohammed Al-Aklouk, today called for the holding of a session as possible of a meeting of the Pan-Arab Organizations Council to examine how to counter the recent Israeli decisions. He said the request came in response to the Israeli aggressive decisions aimed at expanding occupation, demolishing houses, and grasp more land in occupied Palestine. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation also condemned the Israeli authorities' plan aimed at securing the annexation of the West Bank and imposing a new reality through occupation and an alternation of the legal status of the Palestinian territories, including occupied Jerusalem. The UN Security Council is holding a closed-door consultation on the situation in Sudan following the latest alert from the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification (IPC) regarding the deterioration of the humanitarian situation in the country, which has been embodied in armed conflict for nearly 3 years. During this session, the director of the Coordination Division at the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, Edem Wusorno, and the Deputy Executive Director for the Operations at the World Food Programme, WFP, Matthew Hollingworth, will present a briefing on the situation. The latest IPC alert highlights the worsening humanitarian crisis in Greater Darfur and Greater Kordofan, with near-famine conditions in El Fasher and Kadugli. Two new areas, Ambaru and Kerinu, have exceeded famine threshold, while rapid paramilitary support forces RSF advancing against the Sudanese army are forcing thousands of civilians to flee toward rural areas and or the Chadian border. Speakers are expected to urge the international community to scale up the humanitarian response as Sudan's 2026 plan is funded at only 5.8% and the 2025 plan at 38.6%. Council members are also expected to call for an immediate ceasefire and remind parties of their obligations under Resolution 2417 of May 24, 2018, condemning famine as a weapon and denial of aid. Since April 2023, the country has been the scene of an armed conflict between the Sudanese army and the RSF, resulting in thousands of deaths and the displacement of millions of people. In this connection, the Saudi Ministry of Foreign Affairs condemned the entry of illegal weapons, mercenaries, and foreign fighters into Sudan, reaffirmed support for Sudan's unity and legitimate institutions, and urged the RSF to stop violations and ensure humanitarian aid delivery under international law and Jeddah Declaration of May 11, 2023. You have been listening to Radio Algeria International. Thank you for listening, and see you tomorrow.
Hello, you're listening to the English service of Radio Algeria International. Today in our program, we introduce you to a prominent Algerian religious and military leader who led the Algerian people in resisting the then French colonial rule, the Emir Abdelkader. He built up a collection of Algerian tribesmen that for many years successfully held out against one of the most advanced armies in Europe. His consistent regard for what would now be called human rights, especially as regards his Christian opponents, drew widespread admiration, and a crucial intervention to save the Christian community of Damascus from a massacre in 1860 brought honors and awards from around the world. Emir Abdelkader was born near the town of Mascara here in Algeria in 1808 to a family of religious aristocracy. The Emir Abdelkader died in Damascus on the 26th of May, 1883, and was buried near the great Sufi Ibn Arabi in Damascus. His body was recovered in 1965 and is now in the El Alia Cemetery in Algiers. El Kader is a city in the United States which is named after him. Today, we take you to Iowa to talk about the El Kader Education Project. Joining us from El Kader City, let's talk with the El Kader Education Project co-founder and executive director Kathy Grams. Ms. Grams, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's just a pleasure to visit with you about the Abdelkader Education Project.
Ms. Grams, would you introduce us to the El Kader Education Project, please?
It would be my pleasure. Well, actually, the Abdelkader Education Project is about changing hearts and minds. And we want to create better understandings between all people through the life story and values of Emir Abdelkader. So I'm going to call it AEP. So what is AEP? Well, it's actually a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and it's grown simply from telling the Abdelkader story to offering educational projects and tools and resources, as well as providing outreach from the classroom to the boardroom and beyond. So we simply started as telling the Abdelkader story. So I'd like to tell you a couple of examples of our educational tools and opportunities. So it started with the Abdelkader Global Leadership Prize essay contest at the high school and college levels. These are annual events, and we offer this across the United States and as well as in Iowa, of course. And to culminate the end of the essay contest, we have an annual AEP forum that commemorates Emir Abdelkader's life story as well as honors the essay award winners. And this is a very unique networking opportunity for all people. And then we also work with the Islamic Networks Group in San Jose, California, and they have written the curriculum called Emir Abdelkader, a Muslim Hero for Our Time. And this is actually a marvelous guide to learning and studying John Kaiser's book, Commander of the Faithful, The Life and Times of Emir Abdelkader. Now, we have created our own curriculum, and that's called Foundations of a Civil Society, and that is about cultural diversity and enrichment. It is about Abdul Qadir and those like him. We work with the Harvard Pluralism Project, and we have created the case study called Emir Abdul Qadir and Ethical Leadership. And there are 3 other case studies that have also been developed in support of this major case study. And then another opportunity that we've created is the Abdul Qadir Theater Project by T. Gregory Argall, and he did this for us. It's a series of 3 to 5 minute vignettes, and they're based on historical facts with intelligent humor. We do like to have different ways of learning, so having the theater project is one other way that students and others can learn about Abdul Qadir. And then as for outreach, we have a website, Facebook, and we also have news and notes that is delivered to people to be updated on what the Abdul Qadir Education Project is doing. So people can sign up in the right bottom corner of our website.
Perfect and amazing, all these things that you explained. And please, what are the principles of the Emir Abdul Qadir that you try to spread through your project?
Okay, well, first of all, I was going to tell you how this started. I did neglect to tell you that in 2008, John Kaiser called me to launch his book in El-Qadir, because El-Qadir is named after Emir Abdul Qadir. And so his book is Commander of the Faithful, The Life and Times of Emir Abdul Qadir, A Story of True Jihad. So this was the book that actually started my journey in telling the Abdul Qadir story with John. Okay, so what are the principles of the Emir that we want to spread? Well, this once world-famous warrior, scholar, statesman, and humanitarian actually gives us a powerful example of social justice and ethical leadership. And he exhibits through his life story universal values of moral courage, integrity, intellect, and compassion. So the Emir's life story in a nutshell demonstrates that although cultures have differences, they actually share fundamental humanistic values.
This is really perfect. It's really amazing. Ms. Grams, let me just ask you a question about, you said that the education, the Abdul Qadir Education Project started a few years ago, right?
It started in 2008 with a simple essay contest. And as we told the Abdul Qadir story, more people wanted to know all the time. So we decided there is such rich material in John Kaiser's book, Commander of the Faithful. This is the first English language biography of Abdul Qadir that I had even been exposed to. I grew up in El-Qadir. El-Qadir is my hometown. Yet, it wasn't until 2008 that I knew the whole history of Emir Abdul Qadir.
Do other people join you in the project, new members?
We always welcome collaborators. We have created a large network across the United States as well as beyond. Yes, our network grows. So, for instance, the organizations I mentioned earlier where we built curriculum with them, we also work with the U.S. Marine Corps University, where we have established an essay contest there as well. I believe that is at the officer level. We work with many other colleges, universities, and organizations.
Ms. Grams, how does the life of the Emir Abdul Qadir influence American youth?
Well, okay, so people say, why should we study Abdul Qadir? Well, we believe, and I personally believe, that education is the key to more understanding and a more peaceful world for all people. Students need to learn to respect differences as our society becomes more diverse, and students are exposed to people from different backgrounds and cultures. So with the background of Emir Abdul Qadir's life story that touches hearts and minds, and he also connects cultures across centuries, We feel that students are more prepared for the larger global society when they learn about this universally relevant figure for today and study him.
Okay, this will lead me to my next question. Is the Abdelkader Education Project a mean to fight against Islamophobia?
Probably the best way to answer that is to say that Abdelkader's Islam is universal, and his life story challenges anti-Muslim stereotypes, and it also offers an alternate humanistic value system to the intolerant worldview today. What we offer in the story of Emir Abdelkader can make a difference.
I said, who is financing the project?
The Abdelkader Education Project has been fortunate to find individuals and different corporate efforts and foundations who are interested in helping AEP to move forward. We seek sustainable funding, and we welcome all donations. We want to grow, and in order to do that, we are ready to go to the next level of impact. As our outreach grows, there's more demand on our time and our resources. We continue to build programs, and we continue to do outreach. When that happens, we need to grow the people who can work with us to offer these services and to help build the programs. So funding is very, very necessary for us to move forward.
Ms. Grams, are you planning to promote the Al-Qader Education Project in other American cities or also in abroad?
Yes, we are. We are planning to continue to promote the AEP in other cities in the United States and abroad. We want to bring it to a wider audience, but yet Al-Qader will always be in the mix.
Thank you so much, Al-Qader